So in this video, we will complete the 1415 handout. This handout has us explore the vertical and horizontal intercept of a line or a function. So the first question asks us to, finish this definition. The y-intercept or vertical intercept of a function is the point where the graph crosses the y-axis. So I write y here. You can also think of this as the vertical axis. That would work as well. To find the y-intercept from an equation, substitute in 0 for x and solve for y. You can also think of this as sub in 0 for the input and solve for the output. So I filled in 0 for x and solved for y. Okay, the second question. The x-intercept, or the horizontal intercept of a function, is the point where the graph crosses the x-axis, or you could think of it as the horizontal axis. So to find the x-intercept from an equation, substitute in 0. In this case, we're going to sub in 0 for y, and we're going to solve for x. Right, and you can think of this as we're subbing in 0 for the output, and we're solving for the input. Okay. So let's scroll down a little bit. All right, so here we have a graph, and it says find the intercepts from the graph. So again, where the graph crosses the y-axis, that's the y-intercept, or the vertical intercept. So it looks like this is happening at the point 0, 6. Right, so we have the y-intercept, the coordinates are 0, 6, and then where the function crosses the x-axis, or the horizontal axis, that is the x-intercept. And the coordinates would be, in this case, -3, 0. And I just want to point out that the y-intercept, the x-coordinate, is always going to be 0. Right? Anytime we cross the y-axis, the x-coordinate would always be 0. And then for the x-intercept, anytime we cross the x-axis, the y-coordinate would always be 0. Right? So for the y-intercept, the x-coordinate is always 0. For the x-intercept, the y-coordinate would always be 0. Now we have an example. It says find the intercepts of the equation, write each as an ordered pair. So we have 3x minus y equals 9. So to find the y-intercept, remember, we substitute in 0 for x and we solve for y. So we replace the x with the 0, and it looks like we're going to be left with 0 minus y equals 9. And if we solve this, we end up with y equals -9. Right? We can divide both sides by -1 to get y positive, or to make y positive, and we end up with y equals -9. And it does say write as an ordered pair, so I suppose I would write this as 0, -9. Okay, and then for the x-intercept, we're going to set 0 for y and solve for x. All right, so it looks like we end up with 3x equals 9. And when we solve this for x, we end up with x equals 3, right? We can divide both sides by 3 to end up with x equals 3. And again, as an ordered pair, right? That's what we're asked to write this as an ordered pair. So it should be 3, 0. And there you have it. Okay, so again, if we're looking for y, we make x 0. If we're looking for x, we make y 0. And then they give us input-output table. So our first ordered pair was 0, -9. And our second ordered pair was 3, 0. Right? This came from here, and this came from up top. Okay. Okay, so we move on. It says for the function f of x equals -4x plus 12, find f of 0. So in this case, we would replace the x with 0. So we're going to have -4 times 0 plus 12. And that would leave me with just 12, right? If I replace the x with 0, -4 times 0 is 0. 0 plus 12 is 12. And this gives the y-intercept, right? Because we set x equal to 0. And this point would be considered 0, 12. That's my ordered pair. Now it says solving f of x equals 0. So now I'm going to replace f of x with 0 and solve the equation that's left. If I add 4x to both sides, I end up with 4x equals 12, and then I can divide everything by 4 to get x equals 3. So that would give me the x-intercept. And this point as an ordered pair would be 3, 0. Okay? Right? Because in this case, we made the y 0 and we solved for x. So here's my y, that's 0, and that's the value for x. In part A, we've replaced x with 0. Right? Notice the subtle difference between problems A and B. Problem A, we replaced x with 0 and solved. Problem B, we replace y, right? We're really saying y equals f of x. It's a little sloppy, but right, y and f of x are the same. Okay, moving on. Horizontal lines. The slope of a horizontal line would be 0. Right? Think about it. If I draw a horizontal line, it's not rising, it's not falling, so the slope would be 0. On a horizontal line, all of the y-coordinates are the same. Right? When I look at this line, this horizontal line, the y doesn't change. Right? The x values change, but the y values do not change. The equation of a horizontal line through the point AB is y equals b. The equation of the horizontal line that passes through 3, -2 would be y equals -2. For vertical lines, a vertical line has an undefined slope, right? There's a subtle difference. Horizontal line is 0. Vertical line has an undefined slope. On a vertical line, all of the this case, x coordinates would be the same. The equation of a vertical line through the point AB would be x equals a. And the equation of the vertical line through the point 3, -2 would be x equals 3. I think that completes this video.